The outpost on Series 7 was quiet, almost too quiet for an evacuation day. Overhead, the sky was a swirl of soft amber clouds and the distant shimmer of the planetary ring that circled the gas giant the moon orbited. For Inari, that silence was not peaceful, it was suffocating. She sat by the rusted rim of the landing platform, legs dangling, her violet skin catching the faint glow of the dual suns. Her white military-issue coat, 4 sizes too big, billowed in the breeze. Her black eyes, shimmering like liquid glass, stayed fixed on the transport ship rising into the air. Her squad hadn't even looked back. Mission terminated. Unit Omega-9 dismissed. That was all Command had said before they pulled the plug on the biogenetic warfare initiative. No ceremony, no farewell. Just the cold finality of a system purge. Inari was a prototype. Part of a project to blend alien physiology with tactical cybernetic enhancements. She could sprint for 10 kilometers without tiring, see in 4 spectrums, and predict enemy movements in real time. But when the war against the Veilkrith Syndicate ended, her tactical relevance did too. They didn't even offer her a ride home. She was property, not a person. And now she was abandoned property. She might have stayed there, unmoving, until the night froze her blood, but someone else remained. A soft clanking of boots against metal echoed behind her. "Hey!" came a voice, gruff but gentle. "You're gonna get cold out here." He turned. A human male stood at the edge of the platform, helmet tucked under one arm. His hair was messy, eyes a warm brown. He looked ordinary. But in that moment, he also looked like the only soul in the galaxy who remembered she existed. Inari blinked. "You didn't leave." "Didn't seem right," he said, stepping closer. "Everyone was in such a rush to ditch the place. They forgot you weren't just some crate to inventory." She watched him with suspicion. "Who are you?" "Corporal Jack Mallon. Maintenance and logistics. I worked on your integration rig last year." "You weren't even combat personnel," she murmured almost to herself. "Exactly. Makes me real good at watching people get screwed over. You included." Silence stretched between them. Then Jack extended a hand. Inari stared at it, confused. In all her time as a weapon, no one had offered her anything without expecting something in return. Her hand trembled slightly as she took his. The next few days were strange. Jack had stayed with her on the outpost, living off backup rations and siphoning solar power for heat. Inari helped patch leaks in the compound dome. She could have left, hijacked a shuttle, stormed a relay station, but she didn't. Something in Jack's company made her hesitate. He told stories at night, real stories. About growing up in the smog-choked blocks of New Detroit. About fixing rusted-out fusion turbines in backwater colonies. About a younger sister who wanted to be a dancer on Luna, and a mother who used to play songs on something called a guitar. Inari had no such stories. She had training simulations, threat assessments, and a file labeled Asset Deviation Risk, Medium. Still she listened. She liked his voice. It was calm. Human voices had always been loud, commanding, always ordering her around. Jack's wasn't like that. He spoke to her, not at her. One night, as they sat near a portable heater, Inari turned to him. "Why are you helping me?" Jack sipped his synth coffee, then looked up at the stars through the transparent dome. "Because someone should. And because I think you deserved better than what they gave you." She wanted to ask why he thought that. But part of her already knew. It wasn't long before a response team finally arrived. Not to rescue, but to decommission. A sleek black vessel landed unannounced. 4 enforcers stepped out, uniforms spotless, faces unreadable. Their captain, a wiry man with cybernetic eyes, greeted them with a flat tone. Asset Omega 9. You are scheduled for termination. Orders from Central Command. Jack stepped between them. You can't just kill her. She's not some faulty machine. She is property, the captain said. She was built, not born. Her operational window is over. Inari stepped forward, quietly, her hands lowered. If I go with you, she asked, will you hurt him? The captain raised a brow. The human. He's irrelevant. Jack grabbed her wrist. Inari, don't. She turned, gently removing his hand. It's fine. I was built for orders. But her voice trembled. As she walked toward the vessel, her shoulders sagged, not out of fear but from exhaustion. Exhaustion from a life she never chose. Just as the ramp hissed open, a sharp crack rang out. Everyone froze. Jack had drawn his sidearm. It was shaky in his grip, but aimed true. You're not taking her, he said. One of the enforcers raised a pulse rifle. Jack didn't flinch. The captain signaled a cease. You're willing to die for her? He asked, incredulous. No, Jack said. I'm willing to live for her. And so is she. Something shifted then. Inari turned around, eyes wide, lips parting like she just learned the meaning of a new word. Live, she whispered. And in that moment she ran. Not at them. Not away from Jack. But to him. The enforcers hesitated. A quick scan confirmed it. Command had officially withdrawn support for further asset retrieval. She really was no longer their concern. The captain sneered. You'll regret this, human. Jack didn't respond. He just held Inari tighter. They escaped to a free port on the edge of coalition space. A smuggler friend owed Jack a favor and provided false identities. They lived in a small compartment above a junkyard, surrounded by rusted droids and humming power cores. It wasn't glamorous, but it was theirs. Jack taught her how to cook real food, not the nutrient packs she was used to. Inari hated onions, loved strawberries. She learned to smile, hesitantly at first, then more often. She even laughed one night watching old human cartoons, and Jack nearly dropped his plate from surprise. They fixed machines together, ran errands, helped the local orphanage install solar panels. The galaxy was big and sometimes dangerous, but in their little corner of it, they were safe. One afternoon, after patching a leaky coolant line, Inari sat beside Jack under the shade of a junked shuttle wing. I think I'm becoming someone else, she said. Jack looked at her, amused. Is that a good thing? I don't know. But when I was just a soldier, I didn't care if I lived or died. Now, she trailed off. Jack leaned closer. Now. She looked up at him. Now I want more time. He nodded, silent. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out something small. An old necklace, a metal cog hanging from a thin chain. This belonged to my sister. She gave it to me before I left Earth. He gently placed it in her hand. I want you to have it. Inari stared at it, speechless. You're not a weapon anymore, he said. You're someone who stayed when no one else did. She held it to her chest, the cog warm against her skin. Years passed. They left the junkyard eventually, bought a tiny ship and traveled to the untouched moons of Virex. Inari became a translator, working with humans and alien species to build bridges, not walls. She still bore the scars, both physical and emotional, but she bore them proudly, like badges of a war she won by choosing life. Jack stayed by her side through all of it.